Hi, this video is my attempt to present to you a very basic, very bare bones introduction to Eternal Return. It's basically a MOBA, a computer game where you have this battle arena and you try to survive to be the last person standing. You can also play it in teams with 2 or 3 players in total, but the best mode in my opinion is the solo experience because it feels very exciting, very tense. It's actually a free-to-play game. There is no monetization scheme. There is no pay-to-win sort of situation. The only way that the publishers are getting money from this game, as I understand it, is through sponsorships and by selling skins, that is costumes for your characters and such. But everything in the game, everything else apart from that, like those cosmetic changes, some emotes that you can purchase, everything else can be unlocked by playing the game. As you play matches, you obtain A coins that are kind of like the currency of the game. And with those coins you purchase additional characters. There are many characters, I don't know how many there are in total, I haven't counted them. There are more than 26 or something, around that number. I'm not entirely sure because between 2 or 4 weeks, more or less, 2 weeks, like about a month, they are constantly releasing new characters. And in the description of this video, you're going to find a code. If you put that code in an icon when you start the game in the main screen, there is this small icon on the left side. It looks like a blue envelope because of an event that is going on. So at the time of this video, the event is ongoing. You click on that envelope and you enter the code and you obtain a bonus of 8 coins. I think you win more coins than usual when you play matches because of that code. And I benefit from you using that code because as part of the event, I obtain things like additional coins and even NP points that are used to purchase skins and such. So I hope you will play this game by using the code in the description. So now let me talk a bit about this video game. I forgot to tell you that I am going to link a channel in the description where you can see the gameplay. Because this video isn't going to contain footage or images of the game, it's just me giving you my general opinion of the game and a few tips and advice on how to get started. But like I said, if you want to see how the game proceeds, just take a look at the channel that I'm going to put in the description. So in Eternal Return, you choose a character from the many different characters. All of them have their different playing styles and there is a lot of variety. You have a character that is kind of like a waifu version of Jason with Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but without the mask. She's Jackie and she's quite bloody. You can choose different weapons for her, like an axe, two-handed sword, dual swords, a knife. And you have another character that is Fiora. Those are my 2 favorite characters. Well, and Rosie. Well, Fiora, I'm getting ahead of myself. She's kind of like this. She kind of looks like a French knight, like a modern French knight. She has this sort of fighting style, quite elegant. You can equip her with a rapier or a two-handed sword. There's another character that by the name of Rosie. She's kind of like this Italian killer. She uses a pair of guns. She's very agile. She somersaults all over the place. She can even use a bomb that attaches to the enemy. All of the different characters have their own unique fighting styles and moves. It's from a top view perspective. If you have played League of Legends, it's somewhat similar, but it's still very different, and I will try to communicate why. So in Eternal Return, you need to find a character that suits your playing style. For example, in my case, I like those 3 characters because in the case of Jackie, she's very in your face, a melee-centered character, but she's also quite fast. It depends on how you build her. As you are playing the game, you start to level up by doing all sorts of things. by building weapons and armor, by cooking meals, because that's the way that your character regains health, by eating. You also regain SP, which are points that allow you to perform all sorts of special actions, maneuvers, attacks, and you regain those SP points by drinking all sorts of things like water, coffee, milk. Mm. So in this game, you level up by doing everything. Even if you are just constantly running and walking, you start to gain experience. But of course, you want to do things that give you even more experience points, like killing all sorts of enemies. You are not only fighting against the other players, you are also killing beasts in this place called Lumia Island. It's this huge place separated by sections. You have a section which is the beach, you also have the temple, the alley, the hotel, the hospital, the cemetery, and each of those places contains all sorts of items. Like, you normally would consider those items trash in most cases. You have like scrap metal, and you have paper and bottles, but when you take those things, you can create all sorts of weapons and gear, as I explained, and you can find some simple food that you can cook into more complex dishes. So maybe you have bread and you have garlic, and you can combine it to create garlic bread. Or maybe you can create more complex things, like maybe you take needles and you use this alcohol, and now you have an acupuncture set. But if you use that set and you combine it with medicine that you have created by combining this root with a turtle shell, you have Zen meditation, which is basically an object that heals you even more. So you can create and cook all sorts of things. It's very fun. But of course, all of the other players are also doing the same thing. So it feels like a race at the start of the game. It feels like a race that you're running around the area, picking up the objects that you have decided to employ because of a plan that you have previously designed or downloaded. These plans are vital. Basically, it's a scheme or a course that you need to follow. Let's say that you're going from hospital to graveyard to factory. And that's because in the hospital, in the graveyard, and in the factory, there are pieces and food that you have already chosen to prepare, because otherwise you will have to be equipped with really good memory. And there are some players that have what would you say, they can recall almost any recipe in the game. If they lack a certain weapon or armor and leg protection, whatever, they can almost immediately remember the recipes. Within the game, you can access a menu where you can see all of the different ingredients and pieces that you need to build things, but it's quite risky to keep looking at that menu, because as you're looking at that menu, someone could attack you from behind, or when you're not aware of. And so you definitely need to follow your plan. You could design your own plan, or you can, like I said, use one of the recommended plans. There are many players coming up with their own plans, and you can download those plans. But after playing it for a while, you definitely want to create your own. In my case, when I first saw the game and I saw all of those plans, I was like, it's just too hardcore. I won't be able to come up with my own plans. I'm probably just going to take this or that plan that was highly rated or highly recommended, and I'm going to stick to that plan or to those plans. But no, after about a month, I started to come up with my own plans, that I'm going to go this place and then to that other place. And if I don't find what I need in that section of the map, then I'm going to go to this other area. I have also managed to memorize a lot of things, so that way, if I lose my opportunity or my chance to cook a particular dish or to create a certain weapon, I already remember that there is this ingredient or this other piece in another section of the island. Or yes, it's kind of like that. You can adapt. The game is quite strategic and tactical, because even if you are highly skilled, if your level of experience is too low, if your character is not equipped with the proper gear, And if you don't have a few bonuses that I'm going to talk about in a few moments, no matter your skill, you're going to get killed against another character. And the duels become quite intense as you're moving through the island and you decide to fight against other players. Maybe as you two are battling out, another player, or perhaps even a fourth player, try to take advantage of the situation. That is, if you are fighting against a single opponent and you are wounding each other and spending SP, that is the points to carry out special attacks, some other players could attack you, catch you off guard, and they usually target the most wounded character, and you could end up getting killed. You also give experience points to those that killed you. Of course, you're kind of like an enemy in the island, and as the adversaries, or as you kill other opponents, you get this damage bonus. You start to gain momentum until you feel a bit like you are snowballing. You almost feel unstoppable. But there are some other things that you can do to have a chance against an opponent that has been killing everyone. You can kill very powerful enemies such as bears and wolves that provide you with some special drops. There are also these boxes that are dropped from above, by some plane or something, and if you open them, sometimes you get some really nice things, particularly the Tree of Life, which is basically like a leaf of a tree, and a meteorite piece. And you can combine these things in a variety of ways to obtain the most powerful gear in the game. But you definitely also want to see if you can kill a few special enemies. There is Alpha and Omega. They are two special enemies that appear at different moments in the island. If you kill them, they also have some very nice drops. Many of the things that you can obtain, even all of the things that you can obtain, well, most of them are randomly determined. So sometimes you kill one of those special enemies and you obtain this really nice ingredient or material that you were looking for. And there is this other enemy by the name of Wikalin. She's kind of like mutated doctor of sorts. I haven't checked her full background story, but she's considerably powerful when compared to the other enemies in the island. That is not the non-player characters. And if you kill her, you have this blood packet and you can combine it to create the most powerful items in the game. So as you can see, there is a lot of strategizing to do. Sometimes you think, oh well, I won't be able to go to that area because my character is still too weak, and there is a fight going on there. You have this mini map where you can see the enemies. You see like these small indications that somebody is fighting in that area or building things or searching through different containers, and maybe your character, like I said, is too weak, and if you go there it's going to be suicide. So maybe you decide to instead level up by killing bears and wolves, obtaining some material in the process to gear up better. And I remember this time, one of the many occasions in which you can turn around the entire situation. If you are skilled enough, if you have a bit of luck as well. I was playing in this match and there was this other player, and he or she, they were basically killing everyone. They killed almost half of the 18 participants in the match. And I was doing pretty well, but I was thinking, oh no, I'm going to reach perhaps fourth, third, or second place. That is, I'm going to be in the one of the last survivors when the match nears its end, and this guy is going to destroy me. But I managed to encounter Wikalin, the non-player character that I told you, and I killed that enemy because when you kill Wikalin, Alpha and Omega, you gain a really good damage bonus, especially Wikalin. You could consider it a bit like armor penetration in other games. So I killed Wikalin and I started to obtain so many items. You have these yellow or gold items which are the most powerful, and my character was fully equipped. All of my slots had gold equipment, and because the other character had been too busy killing the other players, that player didn't have too much time in gearing up properly and didn't kill Wikalin. So when the final match began, when we faced off against each other, I won quite easily to my surprise, and I didn't get a single kill in that entire match, and the other player, like I said, had like 8 or 7 kills, but I still got first place. And I'm just still a rookie. There are players that are incredibly skilled, and like I said, they have memorized so many formulas. They don't need to look at the menu when they are looking for to create a new weapon or some sort of armor. They react so quickly. They plan ahead so well. So as you go up in rank, the matches really become very intense, and don't feel too stressed out if you start to lose a lot at first. It happens to everyone. And at first I thought, oh, this is going to be just too hardcore for me. Because if you take a look at the videos in the channel that I link below, all of those pro players, they just move so fast and picking up everything, and they start to build things, and they go this way and that way, and they identify a weaker opponent, and they start to kill that opponent, because you want to take on opponents that are at a lower level than you when compared to you, or that they do not have a high skill level when it comes to their weapon skill. As you fight and you build weapons, your weapon skill goes up. Or maybe they are not well equipped, like I mentioned, or they don't have the different healing items. So you need to take advantage of those players. And it's all about that, being quite opportunistic in this game. So I cannot express all the finer points. It's a game that is easy to play, but very difficult to master because of all of those strategic and tactical details or nuances. There's always something that you can do to improve your game. Maybe you can change the route according to your plan. Maybe a piece of gear simply does not fit your fighting style or playing style. For example, when I played Fiora, I really like to use like counters and guard at times, but I started using the rapier, yeah, and the rapier is not exactly for that style. But when I switched to the two-handed sword, I felt quite comfortable going on the offensive, and then I could activate using the D key. That's how I have it set in my keyboard. You basically create this shield around you, and you immediately counterattack, and I love doing that. Or in the case of Jackie, I started out with the knife, but I really love using the axe. Later on, they added this special move to the axe. The first special skill for the axe was not. It was quite lackluster, to be honest. But this new one, where you spin around with the axe, stealing health, it's such an amazing move. So I always use Jackie with the axe. So it's all about customizing your characters however you want to play them. Really try to master a single character, because they all have their different playing styles. They seem to be very easy to control at first, but it is all about timing, when to use your special moves, all of those little tricks that each character has, depending on the weapon that you are using. So it's such an amazing game. I would say a very exquisite competitive experience. So I hope you will try it out. Like I said, it's a free game, free to play. I'm going to put the link in the description to Steam, where you can download the game and you can play it. Please remember to place the code in the small envelope on the left of the screen. Maybe if someone else watches this video sometime, because I am producing this just as October is starting, the event is probably going to be over by then. But while the event lasts, please check out the code in the description. Enter that code in the small envelope, the blue envelope circle on the left side of the screen, and you are going to obtain that bonus of A coins to purchase characters. And in my case, I am going to benefit from that by obtaining A coins and NP, those points that you can use to purchase skins and such. So yes, I highly recommend that you get into Eternal Return. If you need tips and advice on how to get started or anything about the game, just let me know in the comment section. Although, like I said, I still consider myself a bit of a beginner. There are other players out there. Just type Eternal Return Pro Player or something here in YouTube, and you're going to find a lot of players that are more knowledgeable and skilled. But as I keep as I keep playing Eternal Return, I'm sure I'm going to get more skilled eventually. Well, thanks for watching this video, and for those of you that are new to the channel, in this channel I usually go through different role-playing games and some war games. At times I talk about video games quite casually, and anything else that calls my attention, that catches my attention, such as anime and manga, some board games as well, etc. And in this month of October I am bringing out scary videos, mostly focused on role-playing games, but they also have something to do with other types of games like video games, board games, etc. So once again, thank you, and thank you so much to those of you that have been supporting the channel by sending Drive-Thru RPG gift certificates. If anyone else wants to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. Once again, thank you, and see you later.